guys, this is Blake from Blake's Sanctum, bringing to you another video. Recently I did a full tour of the Imperium Galactica 1 fan remake, and I've decided, even though this isn't a fan game, to actually do a video of its sequel, Imperium Galactica 2, which has been re-released in 2017 on Steam and GOG by THQ Nordic, and it's basically one of my favourite games that I grew up playing. I mean, this intro, even today, still gives me goosebumps watching it. And it's actually quite simple. I mean, it's just a ship coming out of like a jump hole. But just all that audio, and then it builds to this moment. Good stuff. So, why am I doing a regular publisher game instead of a fan game? Well, like I said, it's been re-released and they've made some cool enhancements to it. Basically, it now supports HD resolutions. There's been improvements to the textures. It's basically runs beautifully, because this is originally a 1999 game. Now, when I say it runs beautifully, it may stutter a little bit in this video simply because my computer's struggling a bit to do the recording, as well as the fact that I've ramped up anti-aliasing and anisotropic filtering, all on a built-in Intel card, because I'm holding off getting a brand new graphics card, so a little bit of jerkiness there. But anyway, what's normally without the video recording software, you'll find that you can ramp up this game, the anti-aliasing and stuff on this game, and make it look really nice and smooth, and sort of get rid of some of those rather sort of dated things about it. So I'm going to start showing you off some of the cool stuff here. So we'll go to campaign, and our original players of this game back in the 90s and early 2000s would remember that you had to basically constantly change discs, because this was all stored on different discs. There's so many video files and assets. So you know, I love the fact that now with this Steam version, it's all nicely put together into one package, so you can easily switch between stuff. But yeah, I mean, the work that THQ Nordic have done with this one, because this was actually an enhanced iPad version that they then returned to PC, because the iPad version was one of the last things that the old Digital Reality company made, and they were the original makers of the Imperium Galactica games. Before they, I don't know if they went bankrupt or whatever, but they basically sold all their assets and shut shop, sadly. And right when they were trying to pitch a new Imperium Galactica game, but just couldn't get the funding, so it all sort of, sadly, sort of died around 2012-ish, I think. And THQ Nordic bought the rights and took that enhanced iPad edition and went, well, hey, let's put this back on PC because it's better than the original one, and people are struggling to get the old 1999 game working on modern computers. So yeah, it's really cool that you can have this, and plus with the stuff I showed you guys in the other video of the fan-made remake of Imperium Galactica 1, basically means you can play this whole series now in HD on modern computers, and you know, experience it better than it ever was back in the day. And you know, look at this stuff. It's very, you can tell it's there's a bit of Star Wars. You can tell that the same with the first Imperium Galactica game. There were lots of big space battle videos and massive hangar bays and space stations and stuff. It really gave you that kind of cool Star Wars feel. But I love the stuff coming up here. I mean, they even go to the ground battle stuff, and you've got soldiers running around shooting stuff. And I always sort of got confused by this intro video when I was a teenager, and I didn't know really what was going on in that. I was like, why are humans fighting humans? And then, you know, why is their leader sort of freezing himself to take over the Empire hundreds of years from now? And I sort of thought, you know, they're making him sound kind of evil, but I thought, isn't he you? And you know, I used to get so confused. But in the end, it turns out that what you're actually viewing is a massive civil war and rebellion. And I love this bit when they fly down the river. It's so cool. Big future space city. I don't know how the hell they did this stuff. Little Hungarian studio in the 90s. How the hell did they make this? But you know, like there's this big civil war, and this evil ruler, Kaleron, I think his name is basically, his forces have lost now, so he's arranging with his die-hard followers to put him in cryogenic stasis so he can rise again one day when all the Tears crystals have been found and take over the galaxy and the universe and all that kind of stuff. And so that's actually what's going on here. He's about to his forces are about to go under, so he's going to quickly make a little typical, you know, bad guy boss sort of retreat. Oh god, look at that bit of naked butt nudity. Because, you know, when you're coming out of stasis after hundreds of years, you know, you want to make a good first impression, you know. Why have your clothes cryogenically frozen? Why not just come out and, you know, hello future humans, this is my package. You may commence worshipping me. I love the drama that they create with all this as well. It's all very, you know, look what's happening, computer screens, stuff happening, machines working, you know, and dramatic music, and they did some great stuff in Imperium Galactica 1, but you could tell they'd really found their stride when they were making this game. They were just absolutely kicking ass with their video making abilities. I mean, I remember Diablo 2 came out around a similar time, and friends and I were meeting up at a computer net bash, and we were sort of, they were going, oh, you'll never be able to beat this video, and they were showing the Diablo 2 intro, and then I showed him the intro to this game, and it was like, oh wow, okay, that's pretty good too. And that was a much bigger game from a bigger company to compare it to as well. But there just wasn't that much like this back then in the late 90s that had this kind of level of just, I mean, that's why it was on 3 CDs. There were hours of videos. This is they're just briefing you about the Brotherhood of Tears cult that still exists, and of course are eager to find all the crystals and bring their master out.
If this is true, his return
that wasn't meant to happen. That hasn't happened in any of my other playthroughs, but it's normally nothing happens while she's giving her a little intro, but then just then there was a voice going, a spy has arrived at your spy base. It's like, yeah, great, thanks for drowning out the important briefing to the game. But, you know, this is your galactic view, and I mean, it's funny because there are still games, you know, like coming out on Steam today that are in the Master of Orion style sort of genre, and they're still much simpler things, whereas this was like a full 3D galaxy. I mean, look at it. It's beautiful, and you can, you know, zoom right in. I mean, you can even get right close and see the planet orbiting the star. And then you get even closer, and look at this. You can see the clouds move around the planet. I mean, a little bit of dated sort of here where the edges are not quite circular. So it actually is still quite a low sort of polygon kind of object, but you know, it still looks great. And I reckon if you had a better proper graphics card in your computer, and you really ramp up the anti-aliasing, it might improve that just a wee bit. But you know, it still probably looks slightly jagged. But anyway, and then of course the almighty view, which is to go to the surface. And look at this, much better than the original Imperium Galactica 1, in that you've got this beautiful flowing sort of realistic looking planet with the sun in the sky, and you know, the only thing that the first game did better was Imperium Galactica 1 had nice cool alien buildings and stuff, and it had a beautiful day-night cycle where all the lights on the buildings would come on at night and stuff, and sadly this one doesn't have that. They just, all the races have the same buildings, and while there's an afternoon sort of sunset cycle on the planets, you don't really see a night one with lights on the buildings and stars in the sky. So that would be really cool if they did something like that in the sequel one day. But you know, and you basically build your buildings on the planet, and you've got to build power and housing and food production, and then once you've got all the sort of basics set up, you can then start getting into research and tank and ship production and defensive buildings and money making buildings and that kind of stuff. And once you build lots of sort of combat buildings and put some tanks on the planet, you can have some beautiful CNC Dune like battles on the surface, all in 3D, and very nice CNC style controls. You can draw like boxes around the tanks and stuff. It's really fun, so I'll show you some of that stuff soon. So I'm going to show you the other planet as well. I think this is like some lava planet or something. Yeah. This is one of the least interesting lava planets, sadly. There's a couple that have really good flowing rivers with lava moving through them and stuff. But this one's got like a big volcano-like thing, so that's pretty cool. There's some beautiful planets, alien-looking planets that you can colonize and build stuff on. There's like desert planets, snow planets. There's rain planets grass planets with rain and thunderstorms crashing down. I'll see if I can show you some of them as well in a save game. But it's, yeah, lots of beautiful stuff. So how about I load the next thing I want to show you guys. But we start with this one, Invasions. So this was a game where, as you can see, I've pretty much, this is my recent game, which I've just finished. As you can see, most of the galaxy is mine, and I'm basically just sort of smashing all the races into submission. But I'm not killing them off, I'm keeping them around to try and, because I know that some of the story elements require certain races to be around, so I'm sort of just smashing them around a bit to, and then keeping them alive in a few systems. So this was a moment where I really went nuts on the green Godan player. So there's a few cool sort of space battles and planetary battles here, and ground battles, so I can show you some of the action. So let's ramp up the speed. I love it how it just zooms in and zooms out. Like, I mean, look at it. It literally takes you to planetary orbit. Isn't that cool? Now this is a fleet where I haven't got any battleships. That's in a different fleet, but I've got lots of old ships here, and you can set their positions. There's whatever suits the type of battle you want to have. Look at that. I'm going to go with, I'll just leave it on the original one, and then I'll charge in. There's no ships, so it's just fighters and a ground base there. I mean, I love, yeah, there are a few games out there that do it like this. I mean, look at all that going in there. Look at all that weapons fire. Isn't that wicked? Bang. You know, space battles are so simple in Master of Orion-like games, and yet here's this game from 1999 where you're literally zooming into planetary orbit and battling installations beneath the clouds on a planet surface, and, you know, it's just beautiful. Here's another one. These are some, what are these? Probably heavy cruisers I think I've got here.
Target acquired.
Go blast them. Be over in a second. Bang. There we go. These are only planetary gun 1s, so they stand no chance. If it had been a bunch of planetary gun 4s, they might have been able to keep me busy for a while, get me in a bit of trouble. Now, so this is the time for some tank warfare. Sadly, I should have got a save game. I had some bigger tank battles than this, way bigger, but silly me forgot to save. But this one will do at least for showing you how it works. So, look at this. This is a sunset moment I was talking about. Nice. Alright, so you hit this, and down come a few tanks. I don't have many at this stage, but these are like pretty much the best tanks in the game.
Your orders. Reporting,
so these
sir.
are, yep,
yes, sir.
they've got the iron turrets and laser turrets and stuff, so they fire these cool lightning blasts. So they've got a machine gun for here, and there's a few tanks behind it, so let's
moving to attack.
Do this. Speed up a bit. Here we go, look at that.
We are under fire, sir.
Look at that, awesome. Fire. It's blasting the fort.
Destroyed, sir.
I mean, this is years before they started doing 3D Command and Conquer games and stuff. I think like the first major one was Emperor Battle for June that Westwood did in 2001, 2 years after this. So I mean, it's just amazing to think that a little Hungarian studio created this game. I mean, a Master of Orion game that has SimCity city building elements, Command and Conquer June style tank battle elements. You know, it's just all in the one game. It's just insane. I don't know how the hell they did it. And of course, yeah, it filled it full of amazing videos on top of all that. So there you go, we've occupied a planet, and then anything else? Oh yes, there's one more up here. I think these are my battleships. Some big ships. God, that jerking sucks. I'm really sorry about that, guys. I'm holding off on buying a graphics card because I know it's going to be another 6 months before I'm playing anything really intensive. So I'm playing a lot of retro stuff right now, which of course normally I don't get into trouble with unless it's retro 3D, ramped up anti-aliasing and anisotropic filtering, and doing an HD video all at the same time. I'm a little bit caught out with this one, so I apologise, guys. Well, there you go, there was a bit of fun combat action to show you guys. Oh, that reminds me, before I load the next game, I was going to show you guys a grassy planet with storms. They're pretty cool. So the rain coming down, clouds in the sky. It's very sort of atmospheric, seeing a stormy planet. Sometimes you get thunder as well, and lightning and stuff. Oh, there's some. There you go. And what's really cool is the OpenIG project, that fan-made remake of Imperium Galactica 1 that I mentioned earlier. They actually added weather effects to the original game, so they sort of took some of the cues from this sequel and put it into the original game, because there weren't weather effects in the original Imperium Galactica 1. So it's really cool they did that. In fact, they did a whole bunch of improvements. So I strongly encourage you guys, to support Imperium Galactica 1 and 2 on Steam and GOG and all that, but go check out OpenIG as well. This is a great fan remake. They do heaps of things, like there's building upgrades and interface upgrades. They smooth out all the videos so they look nice even today. And they also added epic skirmish mode as well. That's probably even better than the skirmish mode in this game, Imperium Galactica 2. It's got like heaps of cool stuff, and you play a huge amount of races across randomly generated galaxies and stuff. All these things you couldn't originally do in IG1. So I'll put a link on the end card to this video. I'll make sure I put a link to the OpenIG project, because I've done a video showing all the cool stuff in it, so you guys can check it out. But anyway, let's get on with things. I was going to show you the next save. I reckon I'll show you the Meteorite. That one's a pretty cool moment. Oh, and that reminds me, I should show you guys, for people who are not really familiar with the Imperium Galactica games, I should show you some of the cool stuff. So you've seen the colony view, Starmap view. These are some of the nifty screens, and everything's in 3D, very animating. I mean, that might annoy people someday, these days, who want like a very streamlined, quick interface. But, of course, back in '99, it was like, wow, it's so interactive and everything's moving around, it's all amazing. So I suppose if they were to make a sequel to this, it'd be great if it had a tick box for turning that stuff off. But I love it, I eat it up. So this was technology research. What else we got here? We got equipping your tanks and battleships, and you can equip all the different parts. So this game's got all that. You can even, look at your ships and go, ooh, pretty. What else? We got spying, I think. Oh no, diplomacy. There you go. Nice little video animations for all the races, and you can talk to them, and each of them have got nice sort of alien-looking video animations. Pretty much just smashing anything that was out at this time. What else? I think this would be the spying one. I'm just using F keys to move through this stuff quickly. So I got my guys training, and don't hire spy, go away. There you go. So we can, oh, for God's sake, go away. There we go, now I can move through things. So once again, you got cool video animations. And I've got spies from each different race, and most of them are sort of doing counterintelligence and training to level up and all that kind of stuff. What else? Oh yeah, there's like a trade screen. Once you have a trade center or a trade port, you can start to buy interesting ships and weapons from other races for sometimes a much cheaper price than you build your own stuff. That can be useful at the start of the game. I find it rather useless later on in the game, although if you can steal something that has like the Kra'hen super weapon, the destruct array or whatever it is, that can be handy. But I prefer to just acquire that technology through other means. What else? Oh yes, Empire Management. It's not bad, the Empire Management, but after playing Master of Orion 3, which is funny because a lot of people hate that game, I actually quite enjoy the Empire Management screen in that, because you can sort all your colonies. You can see a lot. You can sort them by about 10 different things, whereas there's no sorting. And of course, being an old game, my scroll mouse doesn't work either, so I've got to bloody sit here going da 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 da, which is, gets annoying after a while. You can click on it though, and you can get the general status, and then you can right click on it to get taken to the surface to make a change, which is pretty cool. But after a while I actually got sick of using this, but it's I just started clicking on planets on the map again. But this is pretty cool. You can look at all the different stats. Of course, this is pretty late in the game now, so I'm sort of smashing everyone on the various different things. But it also, this is actually a slight complaint as well, the fact that diplomatic relations, showing who you're at war with and who you're at peace with, is all on this screen instead of the diplomacy screen. It'd be more handy to get a reminder there, but anyway. Anything else? Oh yes, the main message area. It's sort of like you used to get these messages on the bridge in Imperium Galactica 1, whereas in this game you're not sitting on a ship, or at least they don't show you sitting on a ship. So you just get your messages on this message screen here. It was like story events and campaign events. Now I believe there's an asteroid heading for a colony, so I was going to show this bit because it's pretty exciting. Bunch of fighters come along and blast it away. There's actually a better asteroid video I might show you after this.